Long enough to cover the subject and short enough to keep it interesting. Welcome to Outta My League. I'm Nick Diaz. Jay Johnson has hired his all-important assistant, the pitching coach, Jason Kelly. So it's not just because it's the pitching coach or that pitching and defense and X's and O's are considered a weakness for Jay Johnson. I mean, that's a real concern for him. That was the only big concern for him when he was hired. But because pitching is the most important part of the game. Like it or not, it's the quarterback position of baseball. So he hires Jason Kelly from Arizona State. Now, I can just hear all the hold the ropers. Oh, great, another West Coast guy. Look, I understand the concern or the reaction of, how are we going to recruit the Southeast with a bunch of West Coast guys? I get that concern. It's just not a valid concern at all. All right, so on our radio station, we interviewed a former Jay Johnson player from Nevada, Austin Byler. Austin, born and raised in California, played at Nevada in Reno, and now currently lives in Phoenix, Arizona, where he played for the Diamondbacks. So we asked him, well, what's LSU's brand out in the West Coast? And he says, the kids love it. The kids grow up playing either in Alex Box Stadium or playing for LSU as an opponent. It's huge out there in the West Coast. So if kids out in the West Coast grow up dreaming of playing in Alex Box Stadium, then what the hell do kids in the Southeast grow up dreaming of playing for? If you're a good recruiter, it doesn't matter where you come from because the brand on your shirt will help get you in the door with little to no effort. If you're good at your job, the rest will work itself out. And Jay Johnson is known as a great recruiter. This hire was the biggest move so far for Jay Johnson. Ed Orgeron had to find his offensive coordinator. Jimbo Fisher had to hire his defensive coordinator because he struggled with that at Florida State. Lincoln Riley finally apparently has found his defensive coordinator. So sure, I'd like if the rest of Jay Johnson's staff would have just a little bit of Southeast flair to it. I would, but here's the thing. This pitching coach position is too damn important. The qualification should not be where are they from. The qualification should just be, is this the best guy for the job? Is this the best guy you can get? Here's Kelly's resume. 7 seasons at the University of Washington, 2018 Assistant Coach of the Year, and they led them to the College World Series as the assistant coach. He's been at Arizona State for a year and a half. He started in 2020. But here's what a player said about what Kelly did at Arizona State the last 2 years. He said, "The job Kelly was able to do with Arizona pitchers is unreal to me. What happened to our pitching staff, we should not have even had a 500 record, in my opinion. It's just a testament to Kelly and what he's been able to do. I think he's one of the best pitching coaches in the nation." Obviously, this is coming from someone who's biased, but very telling. But here's what also Arizona State sources are saying about Kelly's players. According to sources, Jason Kelly's player development skills have led several Arizona State players to say they would consider transferring if Kelly did not remain on the ASU staff. And that is where this becomes important. LSU's hitting is going to be lights out. Lights out. But as good as a pitching coach as you may have, at the end of the day, you can't coach guys to throw 95 miles per hour. You just can't. Arizona State sources for 24/7 Sports, they went on to say the starting pitching for next year's Arizona State team has the potential to be immediate strength for the Sun Devils, something that could be in jeopardy with Kelly no longer in the fold. Quote, "It would be hard for some guys to come back if Kelly wasn't there." I would be fine if LSU only stopped adding to their batting lineup with Jacob Berry, because LSU has the offense to compete for Omaha next season if you stop right now. If you stop right now and give me a projected lineup, that's good enough to get to Omaha as far as offense is concerned. They do not have the pitching. LSU needs at least one potential starter and another good closer. And I mean at least one starter and one closer. At least. Hire the best guy and the rest will fall into play. And thank God for the transfer portal. especially when it benefits your team. All right, Sha'Carri Richardson. She went from a 30-day suspension to now not competing in the Olympics at all. So America is not letting the fastest woman in the world run for their country because she was using a non-performance enhancing drug, weed, to medicate the stress of losing her mother while trying to qualify for the Olympics at the same time. Yeah, this is a dumb rule, and she should be allowed to compete. But let me say this, though. So I've never smoked pot, but when I was in high school, we had a rule that said no drugs or alcohol at the private school that I went to. And they could test you for it. They were allowed to test you for it. I understood that. All right, I get wanting kids to stay away from drugs and alcohol because somebody could get hurt, do something stupid. That I understand. But they also, at the school that I went to, they had a dress code. They had dress code rules. Hair had to be a certain length, bangs, sideburns. You had to shave constantly. One dude had a 5 o'clock shadow halfway through the day because he grew beard so quickly that he had to show up to the principal's office before the day started to show that he had shaved right before he went to school, just so he wouldn't get in trouble by another teacher later in the day if it looked like he didn't shave. So yeah, it was kind of ridiculous. And I had to abide by these rules that I thought were stupid. But I also understood by me, listening to these rules and following these rules, like the sideburns or wearing the correct shoes or a belt, I knew it was all bullshit and it was all a made-up rule just to create a perfect little Catholic school image. But guess what? I put up with them. I put up with the rules because the education that I was getting was too good to pass up. It just wasn't worth it. So just abide by the bullshit rules. All right? Also, it's that institution's right to have that dress code. All right? If you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. We'll give this good education to someone else who wants to play by our rules. I didn't want to screw it up, so I went along with the bullshit rules. Plain and simple. Those rules made no sense to me. And to some extent, as an adult, they still don't. And guess what? The Olympic rules of not being allowed to smoke weed or take any substance related to marijuana, that makes no sense to me. So did Sha'Carri make an immoral decision? No. Smoking pot is not an immoral decision. Unless you're a truck driver or you're a pilot and you drive high and you put others in danger, that's different. But in general, smoking pot is not immoral. It's not an immoral decision. But did Sha'Carri Richardson make a dumb decision? Yes, because she chose to put her Olympic dreams on the line by medicating with a drug she knew would get her in trouble. She could have gone to therapy, to a counselor, to deal with her depression. Is the rule that the Olympic Committee made dumb? Yes. Did Sha'Carri also make a dumb decision? Yes. One of my favorite things I like to say is both things can be true at the same time. Both things can be true at the same time. It's a dumb rule, but Sha'Carri also made a dumb risk. But at the end of the day, she should still be allowed to compete. And not because she's the fastest woman in the world, not because she's an American, because if this was any other athlete across the world and I heard about this, I would say that's bullshit, let her compete, let him compete. And no, not because she is an LSU athlete, because I didn't know who she was until about a week ago. It's because weak moments should not punish strong people, especially with rules like these. Weak moments don't punish strong people. Let her compete. Thanks for listening to Out of My League. If you like what you heard, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, or follow me on Twitter and Facebook in the description link below.